This is the Real Estate and Open Space Committee meeting.
We're
June-
using that to hold the
I know,
paper
but
down.
we have to hear you, so we're
Okay.
gonna have to find a solution.
June 17th, 2022, at 8:30, we entered executive session. We opened our meeting and entered executive session. At 8:45, we adjourned, and we are now back in regular session.
Okay, great.
All right, agenda, somewhere in here. Okay. Welcome guests. First is to approve the minutes of the regular session on May 20th, 2022. Hope everybody received the minutes from Carol. She had apologized. She also had someone in her family pass away, which delayed her being able to get them out to us, but we have them. Any questions, any corrections, anything that needs to be?
I sent her a correction,
Oh, okay, she did.
and she made
She made the
that correction and sent us a revised version. So I would move approval of the corrected minutes for the May meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, all right.
New business. Discuss and prioritize properties on the tax lien list to be recommended to the select board that might be considered for housing conservation, water protection, or recreation. Amy Bullock, the town tax collector, had shared with us a list of properties that are still on the tax lien list. She did remove properties that, from the previous list, which were folks who have made payment plans, so we would not have to consider them in the list, and also ones that have been put forward for foreclosure. So what's on this list, we can look at with, pretty sure that, except at the select board, get used to saying that, at the select board meeting Monday night, Mr. Waystack, representing the assessors, said that they have worked on some properties and have collected, sent out notices, got payments, so they've, resolved some of these properties. Unfortunately, no one shared that information with us, so some of them may be on this list. There was no one in the tax assessor's office when I was here yesterday to talk to, so I'll try. But I think the point is, maybe we talked to our liaison, Mr. McCaskill, and asked that somehow or other there's some coordination between all these entities that are looking at these properties. I mean, the assessor's office is working on things, the tax collector, the legal is looking at properties, we're looking at properties, and we may just all be redundant on some of them, so.
Redundancy is the name of town government. I mean,
I
you're
know,
asking a lot.
but I mean, if they're looking and they're resolving a property,
Right.
then we should know it's not on this list anymore, and we won't spend time looking at it. James?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to ask another sort of very general question. How is the exercise that we've been asked to do on this different from what we did the beginning of the year? Because we spent an awful lot of time looking at various pieces of property on various lists of owners unknown, on tax lien property, and came up with a prioritizing system, presented that to the Board of Selectmen, and that was very well accepted by the Board of Selectmen. Why are we sort of, to me, this seems like we're reinventing the wheel that we went through earlier, and I don't understand why that's true.
Well, I think
I think they want more.
they want more.
They're moving down the list and they want us to
Yeah,
give them
they-
another.
Have we,
they've
have
dealt
we
with
then
the ones-
acquired all the property that we recommended?
No.
Then why do they want more?
No, I think what they want us to do is to prioritize from the list that we gave them. That was my understanding.
No, they want 10 more.
Oh, I
10
totally
more
misunderstood that then.
properties.
Where were you that day?
No, I,
10 more.
I thought, you know, they said that they had, here was my confusion. He said, we've done 10, and I assumed that it was 10 from the list that we gave them. So then I looked at what she gave us, and it had nothing to do with the list that we gave them. The ones that they did,
Yeah.
was there an earlier list from the committee that they could have been working from? Because you guys did give them some, yeah, a couple of years ago,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But some of them,
'Cause
same ones.
seriously,
Some of the
there was
same ones
no,
were on
there
that
was no
list.
overlap between what we,
There was none from that most recent
yeah.
list?
It was a completely different set of properties than anything that we had talked about.
You could give them a list of 10 though, and, you know, 3 they could have eliminated, 3 could be in process, 3 could be, you know, in a different phase. So then they're looking at it saying, okay, well, we need more. I specifically heard him say, we want 10
10 more.
more properties
Yeah.
to work on.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Why? I mean, I'm with Jim. If
Yeah.
they haven't done anything with the others,
But
why?
we don't know that.
Okay.
But-
See,
but
that's
I-
the point. We
okay.
don't know if they have selected any of them and they are doing something about them. We don't know that. That's my problem with this.
Okay, and that would be my problem too, because I don't think we should do any more until we know that. And I would request that at the next meeting, we have somebody from the assessor's office here to explain all that to us.
Well,
Because I'm not ready to proceed on doing another prioritization exercise without knowing what happened to all the work that we did from the beginning of the year, including a very well-recepted presentation to the Board of Selectmen.
yeah, right.
Now, I think we need to know the status of that before we proceed with any more.
Kathy?
Are all the properties that we first presented to them, are they off this most recent list?
Yeah, well, I did go through and marked, no, some of them are on the prior list. I went through and looked, compared the list, and some of them are still on here, which means they've not been
Yeah.
resolved.
Yeah, because, see, I don't know, I guess I'm getting old or something, but,
Well,
but
You're just a
I,
kid compared to me.
well,
I
even
thought, I thought the assignment that he was giving us was to go through the list that we gave them and give them the 10, where should they start on that list?
No.
You know?
well, they've already started.
They'd already
They've
started.
already
But
started.
there-
We're
but-
beyond that.
But there's a whole bunch of, so what I did was identify the ones that I thought were the most important for them to go after first. And there are a whole bunch of them on that list.
But I thought we'd already done that.
Yeah, we did that.
prioritized.
Yeah,
We did that.
Well, we verbally told them which ones we thought were the most important, but I'm very confused
Yeah,
now.
well,
I'm very
That's
confused.
the way of the world here. Here's more, to add more confusion?
Mm.
Okay. Someone who, rather not mention the name, but someone very well versed in properties and everything here in town, brought it to the attention of the tax collector that if you add up all the acreage on the tax list, not just the tax lien, but the whole town tax list, it adds up to more property than the town actually has. Possibility of why? Because some of these miscellaneous properties have been resolved. They've been brought to the assessor, they've gotten map and parcel numbers,
So they're being
but,
looked at.
but they were never taken off the miscellaneous list. So some of these miscellaneous properties may actually have map and parcel numbers and shouldn't be listed as miscellaneous.
That's the coordination between the assessor's office and the tax collector's office.
Exactly. But the tax collector's office is saying they really don't have staff and time to go back and deal with all that right now. So,
Then it's gonna be incorrect. I mean, it's, how come our list here doesn't have, this latest list have acreage? Because it's kind of hard to
Yeah,
get an idea of importance of a potential piece.
Right.
If there's no acreage attached to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of unpaid bills, I don't really care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think she was just trying to,
Yeah.
to show us which ones are, you know, and then, like, some of them, I went and looked them up in the assessor's
Yeah.
cards and whatever to try and,
I mean, I'm with Jim in that I'm not sure we should be going through this process without knowing what has taken place so far.
okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, and with, to sort of further clarify that, what has taken place with regard to the priority lists that we have already given them?
yeah,
How many of those properties have they acted on? How many of those properties on the priority list we've given them have they not acted on? Why haven't they acted on the properties that they haven't? There may be very good reasons why they haven't, but we just don't know.
Yeah,
So I think we need to understand that before we can, sort of proceed any further. And I think we need clarification as to exactly what it is they're looking for. Because in addition to the tax lien property, we also have the owner's unknown property. And who is dealing with the owner's unknown property? Now, the money to do the title work, the appraisal work and all did pass town meeting. I don't think it's spendable until July 1st, but July 1st is coming up. Where is that process going, and how is that process interacting with the tax lien process?
Right.
So I think we need to understand those issues better before we can proceed any further.
well, I agree, that's why I said that we need some system of coordination has to be set up. There has to be a reporting. If the attorneys who are looking at this, decide to send something for foreclosure or take by eminent domain, there needs to be an email sent out to us, the assessor, the town, there needs to be information shared.
yeah.
Why are we all,
And, I mean, I think to begin that sharing of information, it may be helpful, and whether or not this is even possible, to convene a meeting between us, the assessor's office, and a representative of the attorneys who are dealing, with the various issues.
Margot, you're taking notes, I see.
I'm trying to.
Okay, good girl, good girl,
It's all
because,
recorded, Margaret.
yeah, I didn't know
You
Carol
and
wasn't.
I mean, I think you're right, Elaine, there needs to be the coordination. We all need to understand what the other party is doing so that we're not working at cross purposes to each
Right.
other.
Yeah,
And whether, it might be helpful for us to take the lead in at least making that suggestion.
Okay,
Now, that suggestion may be something that would have to be sort of pushed, organized through the town administrator's office, through Joe.
okay, yeah, I will contact Mr. McCaskill, because I think that's our
Yeah,
first
maybe
step.
Mike is the right
Kathy?
one to contact.
Kathy?
Yeah, no, of interest when, in the list that she sent, as of the end of April, that the number of parcels with tax liens was 288, and the number of parcels in foreclosure process were 18.
Yeah,
That's a good start, right?
Mhm.
And the number of parcels with owners unknown was 35, and the number of miscellaneous parcels were 83. So,
it doesn't add up.
well, but all of those require a different
Strategy.
process,
Yeah.
to begin work on.
Right.
And some are gonna need title research and survey, some are gonna need a foreclosure process, some are gonna
Right.
need whatever. And
Right.
I'm not really sure we're as well-versed as we should be in, how they're going about it, I guess.
Right, I
Yeah.
think you're absolutely right, Kathy.
Yeah.
And I think for us to go any further, I mean, we spend a lot of effort, I think we did what we were asked to do by the Board of Selectmen, and I think what we did was very well received. But to go further, I think we have to understand what has happened to that, what all the various parties are doing, so that we know how what we're being asked to do fits into the whole scheme of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, and specifically there, I guess I'd like to know, what list were they working from when they went after the parcels that they did go after?
I think they
Because-
went after the one that we, this one that we highlighted and,
There's no,
She's
there,
saying
there's no, there's very little overlap
oh, okay.
between the lists that they gave us of the things that they had, they gave us a list of like 10 or 12 properties that they had either foreclosed or gotten
Mhm.
payment plans. They aren't on our list. Those were not parcels that were on our
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Well, those are the
So-
ones they had started previously.
Yeah, it takes a long
It's taken a
time
long
to get
time.
to get to that point.
Okay, but, so that's fine. I think we need some clarification about who's on first here, you
Right,
know?
right.
Would you think it would be advisable to have the tax collector come speak to us again about the order of things, of how are they receiving a list from the Board of Selectmen first, and then are they doing something with that, and then,
Well, I
whatever,
think
or,
it's going to
what's
the
the-
assessor's office first. I think they're,
but we don't know that.
no.
No, but I think that, to me, that is the reason why we should at least propose some type of coordination meeting
Yeah.
with all the parties involved. Now, again, that might be something that's hard to schedule, but that would be something that I think would need to be scheduled through
Right.
Joe.
Okay.
Or through Mike McCaskill, one or the other, or probably
Well,
both.
it would go through Joe, I'm sure,
Well,
because he's
they-
staff.
Maybe we could
Yeah.
ask if some representative from the tax assessor's office and a representative from the tax collector's office come to our next meeting for 10 minutes,
Right.
and just give us their process, like, how
Just their
do they,
outline
how do they receive the information? We tell them what we want ahead of time so they can present it to us.
Right.
How do they receive the information and what's the process? I mean, that would be at least helpful.
That would be very helpful, and I think in addition to that, a representative of the attorneys who are also
Well,
working.
that one might be hard
Yeah.
too.
No, but that could be done remotely. I mean, if it's going to be
Okay.
through KP Law in Boston,
Good
they could
point.
do that remotely from
Sure.
Boston and participate in the meeting remotely. Because I think we also need to know, both with regard to the tax lien property, but with regard to the owner's unknown and the miscellaneous property, which may have not started in process again because those funds I don't think would be available until after July 1st. But what are their plans to continue on those priorities?
Okay, all right. If you can send me an email with the things that you just stated, Kathy
Okay.
too, Margot, Marcia. Send me emails and then I'll compile them, put them all together and send them off to or deal with the appropriate people. Okay. We need to appoint a representative to the CPC committee.
I will move that we appoint Kathy Green as our representative to the CPC.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't have any discussion?
All right,
You're
now we
not-
can have
we're afraid you'll
discussion.
be-
Now
you'll
we
be-
can have discussion. Kathy, I want to tell you, you are doing a magnificent job. I applaud, first of all, that you deal with it, because there are moments. But, and as I said, I watched your last meeting, and you always handle yourself very well, and you always,
Thank
cut
you.
to the chase
I
and
do.
just deal with it.
Somebody's got to do it.
My question about your last meeting was the discussion that was held about the town or the town administrator requesting money for the survey.
Right. Do you want me to explain that to the group?
Yes, could you? Because
Sure.
then I'm gonna give my
Sure.
question.
So this is sort of an update on the Judah Eldridge property, so that you know that the Judah Eldridge property funding was approved in 2018. And so after 3 years, if there's no action, the Community Preservation Committee has the option to rescind the funds. So that would have been last year. So after town meeting in 2021, we took the opportunity to bring it up, and the selectmen asked us for more time to, review it, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're 4 years into the funding, and, don't really know that much about the process, but, they've found that they need to, have a survey done on the property. And a survey is gonna cost X amount of money. Actually, 6 months ago, they got, a proposal to do the survey. As you know, it's a long rectangular piece with sort of 4 long rectangles. Maybe there could be 300 to 400 heirs, to the property, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, there's a lot of development pressure out there. We don't wanna lose the property. So they came to the Community Preservation Committee for funding for the survey. 6 months ago, the proposal for the survey was a little bit over $28,000. Just to kind of give you an idea of what some of this work costs, moving forward. Town voted $500,000 for title research, et cetera, but it gets eaten up pretty quickly. They thought that since that was 6 months ago, that they would need more, so they said, we'd like 50, and we'd like you to take it, this is from administration, we'd like you to take it out of the 50,000, I don't know if any of you remember this,
I
but.
remember.
Oh,
I remember.
So back in 2012, like $50,000 was voted out of administrative expenses to provide funding for title research, et cetera. It wasn't used for a long time because it was too narrow, the definition. So back in 2016, at special town meeting, that first warrant article was rescinded, and a second warrant article was presented and approved by town meeting to put the 50,000 into administrative expenses again and broaden the scope of what could be done. Okay, that was in 2016. Fast forward, the money's never been touched.
So how
Okay.
much money is in there?
50.
It's 50,000.
It's still 50,000.
So they would like permission, or they were asking the Community Preservation Committee if they could use that funding for this survey. So, we kind of had a discussion about it, and then they asked me, as representative of real estate and open space, how the committee felt about it. And I said I could not respond to the question of whether the committee would be in favor of funding a survey from administrative expenses. I could only talk to the fact that the committee was in favor of preserving the property regardless, and that it was an important property to keep from development. So that was what I said was,
Right.
Our thing. But we did vote, didn't we vote, I think, we did vote $30,000, up to $30,000 for a survey from those administrative expenses, from that particular town warrant article.
My question is, why even do that when they just got approved the 500,000, which will be available July 1, which is only a couple of weeks away? Why not use the money out of that? Why even come to you?
Do not know. We had a number of unanswered questions,
As
because as you all know, at town meeting a year and a half ago, they said that the money for Judah Eldridge wouldn't be used to pay off back taxes. That was a
right.
misunderstanding. Therefore, the amount of money that was funded for the Judah Eldridge property, $369,000, what would that be going towards? So if they do an eminent domain, the $369,000 kind of goes, I think, into a fund for like up to 3 years in the
Into
event
an
that
escrow
heirs come
account.
forward. So at
Yeah.
the end of the 3 years, if no heirs come forward, and it's not gonna be used to pay off back taxes, what happens to the money?
That can be liquidated back to the town.
Back to the town or back to the Community Preservation Committee?
Well, that, I'm not sure.
Right, so this was the discussion, I'm
Yeah.
just giving you some
Oh,
background.
okay, okay. I
As
see
that
what
we
you
still
mean,
have some
Kathy.
unanswered questions as to the exact, follow the money.
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy,
Yeah.
I just have a quick, when you say survey, do you mean a sort of defining the property lines?
That's my understanding.
So that doesn't include the title work?
No, That's
So-
not, yeah, my understanding, they use the word survey.
Just like a
Okay, are they
site
going to
plan.
need additional money for the title work?
I don't know.
Because, again, you said that there are potentially many heirs to the
Mhm,
property,
mhm.
because that can become.
No, absolutely, that was
Yeah.
the thing way at the beginning, when that's one of the reasons they wanted to go with eminent domain route,
Yeah,
you know?
that clears the title.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where it's at. So
Okay.
we did vote up to 30,000, and that's where it is right now.
Okay, and Elaine? could I-
But could I just,
Sure, sure.
in a second, Jim, I just want to say, for the town administrator to say, they didn't have the money for this. Yeah, okay, Jim.
Okay, Elaine, the question that I have for you is that you had mentioned why not use the $500,000 that was approved by
Right.
town meeting and become spendable July 1st? What would, sort of functionally, what would be the difference between using that money and this $50,000? Because in my mind, it's all for the same purpose.
It's for the same purpose, but it's coming out of a different pocketbook.
Okay, and why does that make a difference in this case?
Well, because they're using the $50,000 in CPA funds as opposed to using,
What was allotted to
What was-
specifically them.
yeah, which was allotted specifically for uses like this through town meeting.
But isn't the $50,000 also approved for the exact same purpose?
Yes.
So then again, I don't understand the functional difference between it coming out of the
Well, I could
50,000
answer that
or
first.
out of the, okay.
Okay,
Well, I
Kathy.
think,
Okay.
I mean, in this particular case, I'm not sure there's a big difference, but if something falls under a CPA potential category,
Correct.
then they can use CPA funds. So it's a little bit narrower in terms of its focus. So not everything that's gonna be brought forth and coming under that 500,000 is gonna be related to CPA, like if it's a municipal piece or something like that. They know that this is a CPA approved property, so I think they're just saying, maybe we can use CPA funds. I mean, it's, you know.
In
So the-
addition to their 500,000 that they were allotted,
Well, the 50 is separate from the 500.
I know
yeah.
that, I know it's in that fund that we've talked about
Yeah.
for years. But the 500,000 that they were allotted
Yeah,
is for use for specific things, like, related to that property. Why would they haven't even used the 500,000 yet.
Well, they
Why would
can't until July 1.
Right, why would they go to the 50,000? Is there a sense of urgency to have this done before July 1st?
Well, again, the $500,000 was not sort of related to any specific piece of property. It is a general fund for use to do title work, appraisal, whatever, for, the
Owners unknown,
owners
miscellaneous.
unknowns, tax lien,
So,
whatever.
but the fact that they're going towards this 50,000 leads me to believe that there's some sense of urgency, but they can't wait until July 1st.
That's not that
I'm
wouldn't be
just-
my interpretation. My interpretation would be that if
Or-
this is property that has been acquired through CPA funds.
Right.
Then it's appropriate to use the CPA, authorization in order to do what's necessary
I guess
to
it
do
keeps it all
the
in the same
acquisition.
Okay.
ledger.
It keeps it all in one sort of pot of money for
Sure.
accounting purposes.
Okay.
I think they know it's there, so why not use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it
Well,
hasn't-
that's
I'm
what
not
I'm-
saying that's right or wrong, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm trying to lead
Yeah.
down that path, you know what I mean? They're like, okay, we qualify for this bucket, why not use this bucket? And then
Right.
we can go back to the other bucket
Right.
when we need more
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
basically it.
I just wanted to be
Yeah.
clear about that.
That's basically it.
Oh, there's no clarity in this.
Anyway, it was approved, so hopefully the sense of urgency that there is,
Okay.
such as there is in
Yeah.
Other
anything
things. Okay.
here, we'll get things rolling. And the fact that haven't had a town surveyor for a while, et cetera, is, added to the
Right.
the problems.
Right.
So my question, Kathy, is, does this committee need to vote on anything?
No.
Okay,
No.
so
So it's
No.
done, it's a done
It's
deal.
it's
CPA
a done
funds.
deal and that's how
Yeah,
it's getting.
yeah, it's
Okay.
I
done.
just wanted you to know that I spoke on behalf of Real Estate Open Space in terms of,
Right.
of what we wanted to do in terms of the
Okay.
property.
Yeah.
But I did not say that we would approve the survey money or not, because
Okay.
I didn't have the authority to do
Yeah.
that. so.
Okay, fine.
Which is why you've been
You're so good
reappointed.
at your job.
Yeah, you're just, see,
Why you're stuck with doing that?
see, you
I
don't know,
know.
like all our kids all learned, screw up the job and they won't ask you to do it again. You know?
Okay, I
Kathy
accept,
just
I
can't do
accept.
that.
I accept.
Kathy has to do a good
Right.
job.
All
That's
right,
just the
so
nature.
I will email Jan and the chair of the CPC, Mr. Nixon, and let them know, and I guess town administrator, that you have accepted our our nomination to return to the CPC as our representative. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah,
All right. We have to reorganize our committee. So beginning July 1, things change.
do we really?
Well, I would like to make a,
First of all, let's take nominations. All right. I would like to nominate Carol again to be our clerk. She does an outstanding job. The minutes are always as good as anybody, I think, can do them. She posts them quickly. When I see other committee agendas and I see that they're voting on minutes from a year and a half ago, I appreciate Carol's work and that she does it right after we approve them. They're up there. You do a great job, Carol, and
Thank you.
I would like a second to my motion.
Second.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But I would, before we go on, I'd just like to make a comment, being from one of the committees where the
voting on
minutes
that.
have been furiously updated over the past year or two. There was a long period, mainly during the pandemic, where the Conservation Commission did not have the help or the staffing in order to keep up with the minutes. Our current activities, we are getting very much caught up with the minutes. And at the last meeting, we actually approved minutes for April of this year.
Good job.
So
No,
we're
I
getting
understand there were circumstances where some committees,
Right.
but there are others that, yeah, okay. Carol, will you accept?
Yes, thank you. for your
Thank you very much.
compliments.
Thank you. Good job, kiddo. Okay, now vote for chair.
I would like to nominate Elaine
I second.
to continue as chairman, since, as she had mentioned earlier, the way to get out of doing a job is to do a bad job and screw up. Elaine has not done a bad job, she's
Well,
done a good job, and she hasn't screwed up, so I think I would like to nominate her to continue in that position.
I second that.
Elaine, may I ask you, how long have you been doing the chair position?
You know, Kathy, I was trying to figure out, is it 2 years or maybe
Oh, no, at
3?
least three,
It's 3
at
then.
least three.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And how,
already did it for 4, so.
Yeah,
I'm
well.
off the list.
so are you trying to say there's a precedent set here?
Yeah.
As I mentioned, maybe to some of you, my re-upping to be on the committee at all is up June 30th, and I seriously considered not re-upping. And no need to get into specifics, but there are things going on in personal life, and as we all have, but there are times when I have found it difficult to kind of keep up because of other things happening, which is why the suggestion for another vice chair.
It is advantageous to have a vice chair, because the vice chair can be a representative
I think that's a
at
good
like
idea, too.
selectmen meetings or other things if the chairperson
Right,
cannot.
and I know we had
So-
one in the past.
We
I
did.
know, yeah, Bob Thomas
Right.
was vice chair for you. And I say that because of personal, I mean, I don't mind going to these other meetings. My report, you'll hear, I've hit some of them. But there are times when maybe I'm just not up to doing something, and if I could say to somebody else,
Elaine, I'd be happy to be your vice chair,
would you really?
if you'd stay on his chair.
Kathy, you have been so good to me. When I took over for Kathy, she agreed to mentor me, and you would not believe how needy I was.
Oh,
I mean,
I would believe
that name
Elaine.
came up on her phone,
Elaine,
and she
you-
probably went, oh,
Elaine, you
God.
really have done a superior job in this. You've
Okay.
done way more than I did,
No.
because I was not as interactive with the select board or the administration. I do not like that part. Just to say it right now, I don't like that part. So, you've done way more in that area in terms of the cohesiveness, et cetera. So I applaud you for that.
yes.
Well, I thank you, and I thank you all for your support. And, all right, I will accept, provided that you, Carol,
So we didn't second or vote yet, right? Just,
No, we did second
how
it.
can we second?
Yeah.
who seconded?
Marcy.
I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Marcy
sorry,
did.
I'm trying to.
That's
Marcy
okay.
seconded the, but we
All right,
haven't
go ahead,
voted
vote.
yet. So,
Elaine's still speaking.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I just say one thing? Being present when Kathy stepped down and Elaine went, it was pretty seamless. There was no, like, curve or anything that, you wouldn't know that she was leaning on Kathy for, advice or whatever. So I just want to say that is something to your,
Thank you very much.
job well done.
Well, to Kathy. It's a team, and I appreciate the support from everybody on this committee, because I do rely on all of you. This is not a one-woman show, definitely. This is a team.
And Elaine, at any point, if you want one of us to step up and do something specific, don't hesitate to ask, because I think we're all willing to pitch in on
Well,
whatever.
I know everybody has all their own other, stuff going on, so I try not to. Okay, so continue with whatever you have to
Okay.
take a vote.
I'll call for a vote on the nomination of Elaine to continue as chairman. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no oppositions, Elaine will continue for another term as chairman of the Real Estate and Open Space Committee.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I would now like to nominate Kathy Green as the vice chair
I'll
of the
second
Real
it.
Estate and Open Space Committee.
Second?
And any discussion on that matter? Okay, I'll call for, hearing no discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, Kathy will be the vice chair of the Real Estate and Open Space Committee.
Okay?
Thank you, Kathy.
Sure.
Thank you very much. And as you will note in my chair's report here, one of my things that I try to do so much is I think we should interact with other committees. I mean, I go to the Affordable Housing Trust meeting when they have them. I watch the CPC meetings. And here's my report. There was no Affordable House Trust meeting in May because they said I forget the exact word, but an important member could not be at the meeting, so they didn't have it. So 27th of this month is supposed to be their next one, if that person can attend. I watched the CPC online. I did go to your open public hearing.
She did.
I think we need to show a presence, and we need them to, know that we're there, we're watching, we're with them, we're making suggestions, And yesterday, I attended the public hearing of the Water Department and the wastewater, because on their agenda, they were approving the taking of properties out there on Chatham Road that the Water Department had been trying to get for a couple years now. And this committee was instrumental in working with them
Yeah.
to get those properties. So they are taking them by eminent domain. It's, there's, I think, 7¼ acres altogether abutting the water department.
So will those come off one of these lists?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
they are on there.
Okay.
And I also told them that I appreciated the fact that they supported us with Spruce Road, and that anytime that we can work with them on something, that we're glad to do it, and just thank them. And then Dan said, you know, he wanted to express his appreciation to the Real Estate and Open Space Committee for being proactive with them and for working with them, started 2 years ago on these properties, and how helpful we were to them. So there's an appreciation, there's a coordination, there's a relationship going back and forth that I think I'd like to build on with these committees, so that, again, we know what's going on with them. They know what our positions are and what our thoughts are and whether we're supportive or not. I think we all have to talk to each other. We just can't function, you know, on our own. So that's my report. Members' reports. Anybody have anything to,
No,
what about your
Planning committee.
planning?
the local planning committee, it hasn't convened.
Well, because you don't have a planner,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be a while before anything happens,
Yeah.
because of that.
Well, I thought at the, one of the meetings with Board of Selectmen or something, that it was said that maybe the group should just get together amongst themselves and kind of get to know each other
You know,
and,
I haven't heard a thing,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
okay.
other than, you know, I got an appointment letter, but I haven't heard anything about convening a meeting yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Actually, Elaine, I read in the Chronicle, in the notes on the Board of Selectmen's meeting in the Chronicle, that it was suggested, I think by Larry Valentine, that the committee get together and sort of organize itself
Right.
as a committee while they're waiting for the planner to be appointed.
Right, right. But see, then again, somebody has to,
Somebody has to work it
Well,
straight.
Start that.
My understanding was that the town administrator was asked to
okay,
Coordinate
proceed
that?
with, to coordinate and get that meeting scheduled.
okay.
Now, I do have a report. Elaine.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, the Conservation Commission is in the process of dealing with a piece of property that I think would be of interest for us to at least know about. It's property that is currently leased by the town to Leo Kokonis.
Oh, okay.
Main
Yeah,
Street.
I know.
Yeah, this is property that was bought for conservation purposes. The current lease is running out in November, so there have been ongoing discussions since last fall, both with the Conservation Commission, who has sort of operating control of the property, and with members of the Board of Selectmen. It was revealed this week at the Conservation Commission meeting that in the grant of funds to purchase the property, there are some very serious legal restrictions on it, indicating that it is to be used for conservation, agriculture, but also to include passive recreation, and that no buildings are to be built on the property. The current proposal, which is under review, is to lease the property to the Cape Cod Tech to begin a program in agriculture and land management using that property as like a laboratory. It has had one hearing in front of the Conservation Commission. We are now awaiting a joint hearing between the Conservation Commission and the Board of Selectmen to determine how to proceed with it. There has already been a lease drafted that's under review by Town Council, but with the new discovery with regard to the restrictions on the property, there has been some rethinking of how to proceed and discussions with Cape Cod Tech, which are currently ongoing. So I thought this committee should be aware of it. I don't know whether this committee wants to be, actively involved in it or take a position as to how to proceed with the property.
No, I don't think we need to, well, thoughts from anyone else? I know this was something that had been suggested way back with the Jenkins bog about having the Cape Cod Tech, use part of it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think,
Is Leo no longer interested in farming it? Is that the?
There have been questions, there have been discussions. I don't have a clear understanding on that issue.
Yeah, okay. And the tech school would use it for, what would they use it for?
Well, they're in the process of trying to develop a curriculum in agriculture and I think land management.
Mm-hmm.
And they would use this as sort of a, field laboratory for that curriculum.
Right, right.
interesting.
That sounds like I mean, it's an important piece of land. It's a big chunk of land, and it butts right up on Flax Pond. So, it does have conservation value. I'm interested in the recreational piece because the way it's set up now, nobody can go in there. It would be nice to be able to go in there because there is a trail network that could be accessed through there if the public had the right to go in.
Well, part of the discussion in the last hearing with the Conservation Commission had been whether or not there would be opportunities for public access to the property, at various times. At that time, the tech was saying that they would have only certain days where the public would be invited into their facilities. I think with the recent discovery with regard to the deed to the town of the property, that those issues are probably being discussed again.
Okay.
Okay, well,
And
something to keep an eye on, pay attention
for
to.
my notes, where is this property? What's the address?
It's on Old Main Street.
What is, sorry.
Old Main, she said.
Old Main Street.
Kelly, what used to be Kelly Street?
I think Kelly Street comes off of Old Main.
It has an address of like 300 and something Main Street.
Yeah, that's Old Kelly Street. I live like at
Okay.
439 Main
Okay.
Street, so
Okay.
I'm very familiar with that property.
Yeah.
Does the tech school's proposal fit into the, what the deed says? I mean,
That's what's being under review right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
The deed seems to be more restrictive than what the town
Has
had
previously used.
thought.
Okay, previously thought, okay.
So the Cape Tech would be leasing the property from who?
The
The
town
town.
of Harwich, yeah,
Okay,
right.
so Leo has he donated it to the town, or?
No,
No,
he's leased it
leasing it.
from the
He's
town.
leasing it himself,
Yeah.
and so the
Leases
town
up.
owns it.
His
The
lease is
town
up.
owns the property,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And my understanding was the town bought the property through a grant from some Cape Cod organization back around the year 2000.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
So he will no longer lease it, and it will, if this goes through, then the Cape Tech would take it
Right.
over.
Right.
Okay.
And due to the fact that Leo's lease is expiring in November, there needs to be some decision if Tech doesn't take it over as to what
What
is to be
happens.
done with the property and what is to happen with the property.
Oh, then it may come
Might end up back on our
back
laps
here.
anyway.
Right,
Yeah,
Okay,
good, Jim,
that's
good,
good
yeah.
for us to
good
know
point.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
good point.
the Conservation Commission will be having another discussion on this matter at their next meeting, which will be July 6th.
Okay.
Okay, might tune in. I have no life. Okay,
Well, you may see me again, due to some problems with regard to attendance. I actually had to step in as acting chairman at the last
Oh.
meeting.
Okay, anything else? We good? Anybody else?
Good.
No? Again, any agendas, anything you want to put on the agenda for the next meeting, which would be July 15th, 2022?
Well, to see if we can get some of the other town officials that are working on these.
Okay, Well,
tax lien properties to come
that
and
will
meet
go
with
on the
us.
agenda,
Yeah.
but, if anything else like this, what Jim has just mentioned, if there's something like that comes up that we need to discuss,
Elaine, I apologize for missing the last meeting, but one of the suggestions I had for the agenda at the last meeting, and I don't know if you proceeded with it, with the availability of the $500,000 starting July 1st.
oh, I did ask, because Mr. McCaskill was at our last meeting,
Oh,
I
yeah.
asked him, and I think your question was, who's gonna manage it?
Well, my question was, the issue of who's gonna manage it is a town issue. But in that, at the present situation with the staffing problems the town is having, it's going to be hard for anybody in the town to effectively manage title work, appraisal work, et cetera. And whether or not the town would be open to, this committee or anybody on this committee, sort of just assisting whoever is appointed by the town to manage it in doing that management of those issues.
Well, I think his answer when I asked about management was, he said, we are, meaning the select board.
Well, the select board
So-
are not title attorneys, they're not surveyors.
I know.
My experience is that, you can hire the best surveyors and the best title people in Massachusetts, but they need to be adequately managed.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
also
up to the board.
appraisers.
That's up to the select board. It's
But
their,
my question was whether or not this committee should offer assistance in doing that.
well, we can do that.
I mean, the
We can
select
always offer.
board,
They're not gonna
either the
ask.
select board or somebody in the town administration has to be the one that's responsible. We can't be the ones responsible.
No.
But we can certainly offer assistance if indeed they desire assistance in doing that.
Okay, I will follow up on that. Anything else? Got it? Got it? Okay, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye.